All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 307 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and there's a lot to talk about today. There's a lot that's going to be discussed about this whole Deshaun Watson thing, and is he going to be an Atlanta Falcon, which is, it sounds good, and there was some type of, truth to it because he's supposed to be meeting with the Falcons, but I think it's a long shot. I truly do. I mean, I don't think that big of a transformation is going to happen. I'll just talk about that in a second. If this is your first time here, welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern football and Atlanta Falcons football. As far as Georgia Southern football goes, there's not much news to be talked about there. We're going to be having practice starting on the 22nd of March, and the spring game is going to be on the 23rd of April. I will be attending that game. So if you're in the Statesboro area, you're going to go to the blue and white game, feel free, to try to hang out or whatever. We're going to talk some football and see what the team looks like, because there's a big overhaul, if you haven't noticed already, of what Georgia Southern's going to be doing. So that's pretty much the news for Georgia Southern. I'm going to stop right there. If you don't mind, hit the like button, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Viewership is up, subscriptions are up on both ends as far as YouTube and the podcast avenue. Thank you guys. You guys are amazing. I cannot thank you guys enough. Also, if you want to, like I said, if you want to like, share, and subscribe, you can hit the button on either one of the YouTube, Rumble, or the podcast avenues. I'm on Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and Stitcher, or any other platform you may find me. I'll be right there. Just hit the subscription button. And also, if you want to support the podcast, just go ahead and hit the link for any of the monetization where you can donate. That'll be much appreciated. And thank you guys once again for taking the time out your day to listen or watch the show. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Deshaun Watson has been, his name has come up into the world of coming to the Falcons as the quarterback. Man, that is heavy. That is a lot to ponder, because even though we already have a quarterback, Matt Ryan, and I talked about this a lot, about Matt Ryan shouldn't be traded. The only way that you should trade him, in my opinion, that there has to be an offer that's too good to be true. And even though Deshaun Watson is like 11 years younger than Matt Ryan, he's a great talent. A lot of people try to put him into the realm of a dual threat. I never really watched him as a mobile style quarterback to run like that, but he has a great arm, good vision, and he has done a phenomenal job ever since he's been in the NFL. When I watched him at Clemson, I didn't think he was ready. Shout out to Bill's Fourth, my former podcast member. He knew he was ready from day one. I didn't see it, but apparently, he was, and you just saw it. The proof was in the pudding. Now things have been going on in his career and his life, on and off the field, where there was a lot of legal issues. Those have been eradicated. He has a clean slate. All that stuff is behind him now, so teams are coming for him. The Panthers as one, the Cleveland Browns, the New Orleans Saints. Those three teams are teams that really could use a quarterback, obviously. Could the Falcons use a quarterback? Yeah, people look at Matt Ryan a certain way. I think Matt Ryan is still able to win games. I don't think that he has an issue with winning games, or whatever the case may be. But apparently, for some reason, the front office think that this is the move. Now, from a age standpoint, I get it. Deshaun Watson's only 26. Matt Ryan's 37. And we also have to understand that Arthur Smith is the coach here for Atlanta, but Matt Ryan is not necessarily, his guy. So he's not a guy that he drafted. He's not a guy that came to the team along with him. So I can see them having that type of differences of, look, we want a quarterback that's in our image. This could be a situation where that Arthur Smith probably wanted a Deshaun Watson style quarterback even when he was at Tennessee. So there's a lot that could be a lot of moving pieces there. Now, when you look at the numbers, the salary, and what we need to give up if this was to happen, I think it's way too much. I still stand by that. It's too good to be true from talent upside standpoint, because Deshaun Watson is the future. Wherever he goes, he's going to be the future of that franchise. He could easily be on that franchise for the next decade. So yeah, that's the too good to be true part on that end. But the other side of it is like, what are we going to give up to get this guy? Lose Matt Ryan, probably give up a couple of first round picks, a couple of second round picks, or anything close to that nature. That doesn't do us any good, because we don't have the assets or pieces to continuously be a winning team. You bring Deshaun Watson after losing all those picks, we're going to be in the same position where we're going to be losing 10 games a season. We're going to be like 7-10, just like we're this year. We're not moving back. We're not moving forward by doing this. If we could just find a way to steal Deshaun Watson away from Houston without giving up a lot, then there's another story. Do I believe that could happen? That's highly unlikely. I feel like I said in the title, this is a short path. That's a long shot. It sounds good because Deshaun Watson's from the Atlanta area. His mom was a single mom. She was one of the single parents that got one of those homes from Warrick Dunn, because Warrick Dunn had a foundation where he made sure that single mothers had was in the home ownership. He was a beneficiary of that because Deshaun Watson's mom benefited from Warrick Dunn. A phenomenal program that he did there. Honestly, I don't hear about it enough, and I don't want to go too far with this. You don't hear about this enough, but I wish there were more football players that did stuff like that. Even if they do, kudos. If you're doing it in silence, even better, but you don't hear about it, so you don't know. But what Warrick Dunn did was that was just a phenomenal a program that he had. And like I said, Deshaun Watson was a beneficiary of that. Not only that, he was the ball boy for the Atlanta Falcons growing up. So he has ties not only to the Atlanta area, but to the team. I would not, I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a dream of his to play for the Falcons. So when this came up that the Falcons were actually being going to talk to him today, that kind of, made sense. But when I'm looking at the situation where what we have already at quarterback, I'm not sure if this is a viable move. If it's a 1-to-1 trade, maybe, but you're going to be giving up some stuff. You're going to be giving up some picks. Maybe a first now and a first next year. Wait a minute. Let's talk about this for a minute. Honestly, let's talk about this for a second. Because I did an episode on this, and I said to myself, no, we should not trade Matt Ryan. Why do people want to trade Matt Ryan? I also gave myself an out because I have to be open-minded about everything. I can't be stuck in the mud about things. I have to be open-minded, especially when there's a team that's here that I basically don't even have any control over. I just have commentary about the team. So I have to be open-minded about some of these things. Let's think about this for a second. If Matt Ryan was to be shipped for a first and a first, only a first and a first, maybe a second next year or a second this year, I don't think that's a bad. That might be a pretty decent move if we really think about it. Like I said, it's a long shot, but when you look at trading Matt Ryan for Deshaun Watson, the number 8 pick this year, first round next year, and one of our second round picks for this year as well, that's okay. I can wing that. Because I think that's a good deal for both sides, but I'm not sure if that'll be the case. We're probably looking at a situation where we're probably going to have to give up the farm for Deshaun Watson, and I don't think it's worth it. I think we could do bad with Matt Ryan for the next 3 years. But looking at it from just X's and O's standpoint, if we, Deshaun Watson he comes here and we deal with a couple of years of growing pains. He'll be here for another 8 years, possibly. We may be in a good situation to where, we just have to go through some growing pains, build, through the draft or whatever little bit of picks we have and through free agency. And we may be able to do something kind of similar to what the Rams did. This is basically what the Rams have done. The Rams have given up so much for them to win the Super Bowl, And I already did a video about that. I think that was somewhat I think that was like a inside job, but I'm not going to talk about that. Something's fishy about the Rams being. I ain't gonna say it's fishy about it, but I think they move some things to make that happen, because all these first round picks, you constantly moving and moving and moving. And I don't think they have a first round pick to 2028 or something like that. It's crazy, but they did all that just to booster the LA market. But I did a whole episode about that. Maybe one day you can go back and listen to that. But this could be a situation where the Falcons could try that. Well, I think it happened. No, I think this is probably like a 20%, maybe 15% chance this happened. I will be highly surprised by the end of the day that this will be, a thing. I will be highly surprised if this is a thing. With that being said, I'm like, what actually happens if that is the case? I mean, what does the city feel like? And you know how the city already feels about black quarterbacks. I mean, let's not get it twisted. This whole Matt Ryan and Michael Vick thing, there was actually a comparison about it. And, I don't understand. I like Michael Vick. I was a big fan of him, but a couple of NFC championships, I think it was a couple, or was it one? I think they played against the Eagles that one time, that NFC championship game. And, in a big playoff win in Lambeau. I mean, outside of that, Michael Vick was just an electrifying type of player, not necessarily on top like you would think that Michael Vick was. Now, Matt Ryan had his growing pains from rookie up until 28-3. I mean, even now, after 28-3, we haven't had a winning season. So that's 5 straight losing seasons that we had. So I can understand why you may want to gut this whole situation and start anew with another quarterback. I can see that. I can see that. But when you look at the numbers, I mean, what are we talking about here? I'm not an expert at the numbers and that's why I always try to go to overthecap.com. And I know they have some trade logics around here that's on the websites where you can go and look at what would happen if Matt Ryan do get traded for Deshaun Watson. What does the numbers look like? And I just haven't used them, so I don't know. I'm just sitting here trying to get as much information as I can to see what's actually going to happen with this team. Because every time I just keep refreshing either on Twitter or ESPN or whatever the case may be, I'm not seeing much I don't see much that's going on with the team. There's just to me, it's just a bunch of speculation. And I think that's another thing. I really don't like speculating on stuff like this. People run and make videos and they get the first type of, reaction to this. And I love watching those things. I like seeing the reactions, but I know I'm not in the business of doing that. I don't want to sit here and just start, speculating on things and talking about stuff like that. And then, sometimes you just not necessarily go back on it, but some of the stuff, the speculation just be wrong. It just don't be right. That's why I wanted to really wait to see what is going on here. And I'm giving my basic opinion. Like I said, this is the short path for the Falcons to get him. I mean, because realistically, this could be something that Deshaun wants. But the long shot outside of things is the repercussions behind it, the draft picks you have to give up, the cap space you may have to do. There's already been talks about people saying that Kyle Pitts and AJ Terrell may be a part of the trade. Listen, if that's the case, there's no way you make that trade happen. Neither one, those two guys are untouchable. Kyle Pitts and AJ Terrell, those two guys are untouchable. You can pull pretty much from anybody else, but not those two. Those guys are definitely the future. And with him being, Deshaun Watson being 26, AJ Terrell is in his early 20s, Kyle Pitts is in his early 20s. You got a kind of a nucleus there where you can continue to build off that. You don't want to break up the entire team for one guy. And I know there's a lot of pundits that's on Atlanta radio stations, some guys on the YouTube world, they're all in on some of this. And I'm looking back like, even if you got Deshaun Watson, he has nobody to play with that's viable. What are we doing? Who is he going to throw the ball to? Who he's going to hand off the ball to? So you really need to sit back and think for a minute. What kind of plan are they going to have if this works? if they want it to work, what kind of plan is going to be. Because anything's possible. You can manipulate numbers. You can move numbers around. Terry Fontenot has been a big student of this when he was a big student of this when he was in New Orleans, because they did it all the time. You always look around like, how in the world they get this cap space? Well, they manipulate numbers. They move things around. They give people their due diligence as far as their bonus money up front. It changes the dynamic of the cap. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing this. Now, there's already saying that Matt Ryan, his deal hasn't been officially restructured because of this. So maybe does that help, trading for him? Man, I will say this. That would suck if we send Matt Ryan to the Houston Texans. That would be actually awful. That would be really awful, because that team is in shambles right now. Lovie Smith is the coach. Good luck to him. Davis Mills is going to probably be the starter. Good luck to him. If Matt Ryan is there, I think Matt Ryan may be the starter for a couple of years. But say what you want, but there's a lot of tread on that tire. There's a lot of tread on that tire when it comes to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan can still ball. You give him a couple of pieces, he's going to do some things. But at the end of the day, we don't know what's actually going to happen with this entire situation. We don't know what Deshaun Watson is actually looking into. Is he trying to go to the Panthers? Is he trying to go to the Saints? Is he trying to go to the Browns? I know a home for him is Atlanta. That makes a lot of sense, because his home is there. But what don't make sense is the dollars. The dollars don't make sense unless, from the standpoint from what I see. The guys in the front office know something. They have to know something because they're interviewing with him, today. They're going to know something. They have to know something. Maybe they could move something around to make this happen. I would not be surprised if this was already kind of in the works. I'm looking up something real quick. Anybody know anything about Matt Ryan's wife Twitter? Because I don't know the Twitter. But I haven't seen her say anything. I haven't seen her say a thing since this all went down. So, with that being said, it's really interesting when she hasn't said anything. And she usually speaks out on stuff like this. I'm just trying to see something. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to look into it as much, but I think if something like this was going on, she would have probably said something about now, and I would have seen it. I don't follow her, but I'm just wondering. There's just something that I think about. What are we doing here? Because if that was the case, she would have said something on Twitter by now. That's just my opinion. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But with that being said, that's really telling, about what could be possibly a situation if this is real. Because if it was not real, I'm pretty sure Matt Ryan's wife would have said something by now. She usually says something. She said something last time when they said about Matt Ryan possibly getting moved around or whatever. But there's silence here. So if anybody know anything, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to probably get to the end of this episode. I don't have much more to say. Does this happen today? I think it's a long shot. It's a short path to a long shot. I think this is something that could happen, but I'm just looking at the numbers and the cap and everything. I will be highly unlikely. Not only the cap, just the trade value. All the stuff we may have to give up just to get him. Is it worth it? I don't think it is. I personally do not think it is. But let me know what you guys think. If you like this content, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Share this podcast as well. If you're on the Apple side of things, give me a 5-star rating on that star chart. And that helps the podcast grow. Also, what also help the podcast grow, if you don't mind, if you want to donate to any of the avenues that we have in the description, that'll be great. Either way, I do enjoy the fact that you guys, and I'm appreciative that you guys listen to this podcast. I really think you guys, I'm all over the place. I really thank you guys, and I will be back on Thursday. Definitely be back on Thursday with another episode. Thank you guys again. We're going to sit back and watch what happens to this whole saga for today. It's going to be a really interesting day. All right, y'all. I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys be easy. You guys take care. Peace.